What's up, everybody? Underestimated here, back with another hand history review. Today we're going to be looking at pocket jacks, people's least favorite to most favorite hand out there. You know, it's pretty typical to hear people saying they hate getting jacks. They'd rather have 7 deuce so they can just fold pre-flop. You know, I've heard a lot of silly things at the poker table when it comes to pocket jacks, and I think it's an obvious reason is that they look so pretty. People think they're very strong. You know, you get right into the paint hands. They're obviously a very strong hand, but they're obviously very vulnerable, and I think people tend to just overplay them because of how much, you know, because of the strength that they believe they have. So today we're going to look at I don't know if it was 15 hands or so of just strictly pocket jacks that we played and that we lost. So I think that's kind of interesting for people to see. Hopefully you guys like the video. Leave a comment down below if you do, or if you don't, you know, let me know. Leave a like and please hit that subscribe button. You know, we're really trying to get monetized here, so every view, every minute, and every subscriber counts. So let's just get right into it. Starting off, we have pocket jacks in the small blind. We don't have any reads on any of the players. These hands were just kind of selected at random from some of my biggest losses with jacks. So here it looks like we're at a NL50 table, and we'll get right into it here. Looks like it's folded around to the cutoff, who raises. We 3-bet. And pretty standard. They come over the top with a 4-bet. I think you could either call with the jacks here or shove all in. Some people at the micro stakes might even argue that it's, oh, there's the key cat. Some people at the in the micro stakes might even argue just folding the jacks to a 4-bet. I think that's a little too nitty, though I'm sure I've done it myself. But again, like, people are not 4-betting light almost ever at this stake. Even the regs are very rarely 4-betting light. Does happen, you know, so you can play accordingly. You know, I've definitely made some adjustments to pretty much every reg, you know, that's at NL25, NL50 right now. I have notes on and I've made adjustments, you know, to each one on how I would play certain hands. But for here, we'll just continue along, and we decide to just ship it in. 100 big blind stacks. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but it could definitely be an overplay without reads on this player. He calls. We run it. Looks like we run it twice. King and the round 1, ace on round 2. He shows ace king, and we lose the flip twice. So it's pretty standard, but there goes a stack with jacks. Let's see what we got next. Okay, let's get on to hand 2. So this time we're on the button. Under the gun opens up, we 3-bet, folds around, he calls. That's all pretty standard play. You got to assume, you know, sometimes he'd have queens, sometimes he'd have ace king. Most of the time, queens, ace king, kings, and aces are going to 4-bet a lot of the time here. But he does elect to call. He's going to have some suited connectors. He's going to have some suited aces every once in a while, and he'll have some hands like probably all pocket pairs, I would imagine. At this stake, you're going to see 2s, 3s, 4s all the way through. Maybe not 2s, maybe not 3s, maybe not 4s, but we'll keep those into his range. So here we flop a middle set, and he checks. We bet, what's that, half pot. I think that's a spot here that we could probably go bigger because there's 2 face cards out there. I think even if we, you know, even if we bet small, we're going to get a lot of folds from pretty much all of his range that are going to fold to a 3/4 pot, a half pot, or a 3rd pot bet. So I think here we should probably be going a little bit bigger to target that, you know, flush draw or King X type range where we want to, you know, collect a lot of value from. He calls 7 of spades on the turn, and he checks. So here on the turn, you got to think he's going to have pretty much any king, King X in his range. So if he's calling, you know, King 10, King Jack, King Queen. You could definitely put Ace King in there, though that does usually 4-bet, but it should still be in his range. You could have a hand like Pocket Queens that he didn't 3-bet. You could have a hand like Ace X of Spades, though he does not obviously have Ace Jack and Ace King of Spades. You could have Ace Queen of Spades, obviously any Ace of Spades really. And you could theoretically, you could have a set of 5s. Pocket 7s should fold flop. You might see a call if they do have a spade every once in a while though. So we're obviously going to value bet here. Sizing, I'm not really sure about. Maybe we should be going a little bit bigger here. And he does check raise, and at this stake that is usually value heavy, but it's also a very good spot to bluff, even with like the Ace of Spades, like just the bare Ace of Spades in his hand. When he does check raise here, we could probably eliminate Pocket 5s maybe. We can definitely eliminate any King X. We can definitely eliminate like a King Jack type hand. We can definitely eliminate Pocket Queens. Most of the time anyways, right? So he's kind of really starting to polarize his range here to just like a bluff with a spade, or potentially just the nizzles. And of course we're going to call, right? We have at least 10 outs 99% of the time, right? Which would be boating up or making quads. And then the river comes around and he just shoves all in. Now, I don't know what I do, if I fold or if I call. I don't know. I'm hoping I call, because, you know, we're getting such good odds here. We only call 25 to win. 78, I guess, is out there right now. So I think I'm at least getting 3-1 most of the time, given what his range can be. So I guess we'll just wait and see here. We do call, so that's good. I'm happy with that. I think that is a call for sure. And he just shows up with 8-5 suited. So that's fine. Not really, I don't think we even mentioned that hand, but you know, it's definitely one of those suited connectors. You could put him on pre-flop, and he did end up having the flush on the turn. So that's it for that hand. Move on here. Hand number 3, Pocket Jacks. I don't think we're going to get through all 20 of these hands, guys, depending how quick the rest of them go. We'll just kind of see here. Under the gun raise. Under the gun raise, hijack call, cut off 3 bets. We 4-bet. I think that's pretty standard. Some people would argue you could fold here and just get out of the way, but I think that would be way too weak considering the dead money that's out there. This guy does probably have a strong hand, but I think we're still well ahead of that range, and it's okay for us to throw it a 4-bet. And my cold 4-bets are usually around the same sizing. He just calls. Low flop comes out. We check, which is something I like to do every once in a while on these low boards, because what you know, it's basically protecting your weaker part of your range. So if you're only, you know, checking Ace King, Ace Queen here, you're just going to get picked off with small bets every single time, right? And we elect to shove. I do think shoving is probably a mistake unless this is a weak player. I think just check calling is better and keeping all of his bluffs that are in his range in his range, right? So I do think check shoving here against a fish is fine, because I think they're going to call hands like an 8-9 suited. Actually, most people might call an 8-9 suited, especially if it's 8-9 of hearts. But you're going to get more draws are calling, more flush draws, more like fucking even 7-8 hands. You could get a call from a fish. Pocket 8s, pocket 9s, pocket 10s could potentially call. Definitely 10s are going to call. You might even get somebody calling, you know, with Ace King, with the Ace of Hearts, etc. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe I do like shoving here. That's something I'll have to send off because I don't really know. Great board for us. Money was going in no matter what happened. We just run into aces here, and that's fine. That's played fine by both players. You know, calling the 4-bet with the aces is a good play. It does protect your weaker range when you do that. and it keeps exactly jacks, queens, kings in my range that you would expect to just kind of get it in there. You know, obviously you can. The biggest part of this is protecting your range with the aces. You know, if a queen or a king pops up and I have jacks, like it's going to shut down action. But nevertheless, I think it's a good play. All right, hand 4, pocket jacks. All right, button versus small blind. Missed a 3-bet here, so that was obviously a mistake. Could have just been multi-tabling, could have been timing out, could have just not paid enough attention. But he has a massive range here. We're obviously not going to fold, to 1-bet. Especially when we have a backdoor flush draw. So we call. Another ace on the turn. That's a good card for us. It decreases the likelihood that he has an ace, and it increases the likelihood that he may keep betting with a weaker hand, like 4-5 suited, 3-4 suited, 8-9 suited, 9-10 suited, Jack-9 suited. Even 8s might, you know, throw another barrel out, but they should be checking, I would think. He does bet. He bets half pot. We're going to call. And, of course, ace on the river. We have pocket jacks. And he bets. We shove. I don't know what I think about the shove there. I think it's hard to say if it's a regular. It's just such a small bet. I don't know. We have pocket jacks. We make a boat on the river, so he probably doesn't have an ace. But I think when we do shove over him, if it's a fish, I'm okay with it. Again, if it's a fish, whatever. You know, I think that's fine. A recreational player. If it's a regular, I don't think we're getting called. I don't think a 9 is calling us. I think pocket 10s would call. But I don't think a 9 would call. 4s, 8s, 7s, anything like that's not going to call. All of his bluffs are folding. And then aces, anything with an ace is going to call. Kings and queens are going to call, right? Obviously, his range is very wide because we didn't 3-bet pre-flop, so he just could have all kinds of hands, and he's also not going to be putting us on pocket jacks, given the fact that we just called pre-flop in the small blind, which is just terrible. Everything about this pre-flop was terrible here. But anyways, we shove. He calls. He has the quads. And that is what it is. I actually thought we were about to get that'd be jackpot there, but it's only, you have the 2 cards in your hand. So, future reference. Alright, so here we have jacks again, hand number 5. I think this will be the final hand in this video. Didn't get through anywhere we needed to, but that's okay. So here we're playing NL 50 again. We're almost 4 stacks deep, so obviously been playing and running pretty good at this table. Here we get a raise from the button. We 3-bet, thank you. Big blind cold calls, button folds. So this cold call, I mean, it's a short stack, so it's kind of probably just going to play out however it plays out. But this is like jacks, queens, ace, queen, and sometimes ace, king, but very rarely. It's almost always like pocket jacks, pocket queens, sometimes ace, queen, sometimes pocket 10, sometimes ace, king. But it's a very, very narrowed out range. So in this particular spot, we flop jacks, we bet big, and the reason we're betting big, obviously, is his range is screaming face cards, right? So we want to get action from those, and it is always, it's unlikely, but it's possible he has 10 jack suited, it's possible he has queen jack suited, it's possible he has queen 10, he could have pocket queens here, he could have pocket 10s here, he could have ace king. But realistically, the only hand we're in bad shape, like real bad shape against, is pocket queens. Everything else, we're going to have we're either going to be crushing or we're going to have 40% equity, or almost 40% equity if they were to hit, right? So this is pretty no-brainer. He raises, we call, money goes in, and he shows up with 8-9. I don't like his pre-flop call there. That's obviously should be a fold. You shouldn't really be cold calling 8-9 suited in the big blind at a position to a raise and a 3-bet. So not really something I would have in his range, but that's when you want to take note, right? Like basically the way at least I do my hand reading is I have an expectation of what people are going to do. I have a range that I will put them on, and when I play through a hand and it shows down, if they have something that wasn't in that range, that is something you want to take a note of for future reference, right? It's going to give you a lot of information when you're trying to, put together what that player could have. Anyways, so those are some pocket jack hands where they just came up short, and like the saying goes, I don't even know, but pocket jacks suck. No, they're a great hand. If you go through your Hold'em Manager, hand history, or anything like that, I bet you anything you're well into profit with pocket jacks. So please leave a comment down below, hit the like button, please subscribe. We're trying to get this channel monetized as quickly as possible, and I think we're running out of time to do it. But yeah, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see everybody in the next video. Thanks for watching.